Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Tuesday, May the 1st. Welcome to our video commentary and welcome to the month of May, 1st of May, 2018. Well, there's a lot of talk about the Iran nuclear deal. I'm sure you are familiar with the presentation that the Israeli Prime Minister made yesterday concerning what's going on in Iran. Now, I will confess up front that I'm not an expert on nuclear weapons or the Iran nuclear program. But I tend to, on topics like this, I tend to trust people. And I trust the Israeli Prime Minister. If the Israeli Prime Minister makes a case, and I think he did, that there's a problem in Iran, then I tend to believe him. I also trust people like Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who's been on the job, I guess, for a few days. And I trust if he tells me that the information that the Israeli Prime Minister presented is correct, then I will trust him on that. The biggest problem with the Iran nuclear deal, beyond the details, beyond the details and what's in it, what can we do, what can we not do, what can Iran do, and so on. The single biggest deal the single biggest problem with this deal is that it was done incorrectly. President Obama should have submitted the Iran nuclear deal, or at least the proposal, to the U.S. Senate for ratification. That's what the Constitution calls for. The Constitution very clearly says that the Senate is the only one in our form of government that can bind, if you will, create an agreement of this nature where we have the country of the United States behind an agreement. Only the Senate can do it. Only the Senate can ratify an agreement of this nature. That's why we call it a treaty. There have been many major treaties throughout history, including the SALT Treaty that was extremely important during the days of the Cold War. So only the Senate can do this. President Obama didn't do it. In fact, President Obama couldn't even get a majority of either house. He couldn't get 51% in the House, and he couldn't get 50 votes in the U.S. Senate. That is how bad, if you will, the reception was for his proposal. I think he would have ended up with a much better deal, had he taken it to the Senate and say, look, guys, this is the draft of the agreement. I like it for this reason or that reason, and let's put it up to a debate. Let's put it up to a vote in the Senate. It would have taken probably weeks and weeks of debate. I think eventually a better deal would have been ratified by the U.S. Senate, and then President Obama could go back to the French, the British, and whatever, and the Iranians, and say, look, this is all I can get from my Senate, and this is what I've got. And I think he would have probably gotten the deal. But he didn't. He didn't want to go to the Senate, and that was a huge mistake, an absolutely terrible mistake. By the way, he made the same mistake with the Paris Climate Change Accord. He, again, decided to freelance and sign the agreement. Well, he doesn't have the authority to sign an agreement like that. Again, only the Senate, under our Constitution, can create that kind of an agreement. So my recommendation to President Trump is that he gets out of the agreement and then says, we're out of the agreement, but I am now going to submit it to the U.S. Senate and have these guys in the U.S. Senate vote on an agreement that I can then take back to the other countries. To me, that's the only option at this stage of the game. But this deal that President Obama made, I think in hindsight was a bad deal. But an even bigger mistake was the fact that he never really sent it to the Senate for ratification as a treaty. That was really his mistake, and I think in the long run, it probably killed the deal as well, because I think the U.S. Senate would have come up with a much better agreement that President Obama could have then taken to Iran and to these other countries and come up with a better deal. Thank you for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful day. We have all of these in my blog, on Twitter, as well as YouTube. That's it. I forgot. Usually I say YouTube, Twitter, and blog. Okay, this time I got a little confused. But we have all of these on Twitter. We have all of this on my blog. And we have all of this on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, everybody.